Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna 'alan nabiy ya ayyuhallazina amanu sallu 'alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Maulana Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Maulana wa barik wa sallim alayhi. Wa anhu qala Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, salasa man kunna fihi wajada bihinna halawatu bil iman, man kana Allah wa rasulahu ahabba ilayhi mimma sawahuma, wa man ahabba abdan illa yuhibbu illa lillah, wa man yakrahu ay yaudani al-kufri ba'da ay ankazahu Allah minhu kama yakrahu ay yulqa fin nar. Muttafaqun alayh. My brother Islam, we must thank the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the grace of His beloved Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam has brought us together, alhamdulillah, once more, where we do the tafsir of the hadith, the life of Nabi Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, what he said, what he did, and what was done in front of him, and he did not say no, or he did not say yes. That becomes a hadith. One is known as hadith, which is that action of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam which he did always, and one is he did sometimes and he didn't do sometimes, and whatever was done in front of him, he didn't say yes, he didn't say no, which also is known as a hadith. Sunnat al-muakkida is that which he did all the time. Sunnat al-ghair muakkida, sometimes he did, sometimes he didn't do. Now that the hadith will show, which is the explanation of the Quran itself. Now in this bab, which is known as kitab imaan, where Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam explains about imaan. Imaan, which is your belief, your yaqeen. Yaqeen in what? So it explains the branches of imaan. Now in this hadith, we find that it is the same as the hadith before this that we did. It was reported by Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu was a khadim of my Nabi Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He stayed with Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam for at least about 10 years. He was like a khadim, a ghulam, a slave of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. He was with him, walked with him, slept in the same place, he ate with him, he walked, he did everything with Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam for 10 years. And whenever Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted something, he was there to be present to, as a ghulam, to help him or to do something with him. So Allah, this hadith, there's absolutely no doubt in the hadith, because it is coming from the mouth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala immediately, and from him the hadith is required. So you know there's no break in between. So the hadith is totally perfect and authentic. So Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala spent 10 years with Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam as a ghulam. Hazrat Anas bin Malik, he also reached up to the age of 100, even more than 100 years he was alive. And the time of Hazrat Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala in Basra, he left the dunya. His age was over 100 years old. So my brother Islam, he was a very great mufaqqih, very great muhaddith as well. And this hadith is reported by him, so we know, wallah, this hadith has no, there's absolutely, it is authentic. And it is also reported, this hadith is also in Bukhari Sharif and Muslim Sharif. Bukhari is one of the most authentic books that you can get, and Muslim Sharif one of the most authentic you can get. So if any hadith that was reported by by Bukhari Sharif or Muslim Sharif, you know, wallah, there's no doubt in the hadith. And in this hadith, wallah, it states that Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala said he heard that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had stated, right? He says, Salasa man kunna fihi wajada bihinna halawatul iman. He says, any person that has these three things inside them, they have tasted the sweetness of iman. If they have these three things inside them, they tasted the sweetness of iman. Now you must remember that in order to taste sweetness, a person must be, he can't be a person that's sick. So in order for you to be better, you have to take some kind of medicine. Like for example, you take tablets to get better from sickness. If you are better, you can taste properly. And if you are 100%, then you taste properly. Right? That's normal food. But if you want to taste the sweetness of imaan, now you have to take the right type of medicine. And the right type of medicine is these three things here. If you have these three things inside you, you are 100% and you will taste the sweetness of imaan. And the first one is, وَجَدَ بِهِنِّي حَلَاوَةُ الْإِيمَانِ مَنْ كَانَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولَهُ أَحَبَّ إِلَيْهِ. That person who loves Allah and His Rasul Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, number one, more than himself and more than anything else in this dunya. Now imagine this now. Your iman, and to taste the sweetness of iman, you have to believe in your heart that Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is more beloved to you than your own children, than your own parents, than anything else in this dunya. Then only you will taste the sweetness of this iman. For example, now when a person goes onto the battlefield, if he has the sweetness of iman inside him, Khuda ki qasam, when he's giving his life, you won't feel nothing. Why? Because in front of him, you only can see the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah in front of him. So there also you will taste the sweetness of iman. Like for example, now to give your life is not an easy thing. If a person giving his life, for example, if somebody cut you, you're going to feel that pain, you're going to scream. But imagine now those people are standing in the battlefield. Like for example, in the battlefield of Karbala. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, his children, they went on the battlefield, their hands were cut, they had swords, their sword cuts in their bodies, they had arrows being shot at them. Wallah, they were still fighting in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam to uphold the deen of Islam. Why? Because they had the sweetness of iman inside them. They knew that if they stood there, they're standing there because of the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to uphold the deen that they have, which is Islam. And while they are doing that, when they get the sweetness of the iman inside them, Khuda ki qasam, when that arrow or that knife cutting them, Khuda ki qasam, they feel nothing. Why? Because they only have the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah inside them, and they don't care whatever comes in front of them, they will still stand there in front. And that is how the people went on the battlefield. And they battle. What about the time of battle of Badr? 313 against 1,000 people. Now you and I know, both of us know, that 313, where they can overcome 1,000 people? And that too, all of them had armor with them, all of them had swords with them. But what made them go in the front? They had the sweetness of iman inside them. They believed in their heart that Allah and His Rasul Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam was more beloved than themselves. And they went inside that, or when they stood in that battlefield because of the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the deen that he brought and came. And they had full yaqeen in Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam because of the sweetness of iman inside them, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had said to my Nabi Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam that He will give them win over the 1,000 of them. And what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent those angels to fight with them side by side, and they overcame the 1,000 of them, and Islam still was victorious at the end of the day. Why? Because they had that muhabbat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they had the yaqeen inside them because of the sweetness of iman inside them with the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like for example, it is stated that there is one hadith of Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam where he says that a person will go into Jannatul Firdaus, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look at everybody, they all are smiling, everybody got whatever they want. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees one jamaat will be standing like that, they will all be looking, they'll be sad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, what is wrong with you? Did I not give you what I promised? He says, yes, Allah, you gave us whatever you promised to us, but we can't see any sweetness here that we want. Because the sweetness of giving our lives in your road and the sweetness of giving our lives in the muhabbat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a sweetness that we never felt anywhere else in this dunya. So, Ya Allah, give us one more chance to go on the dunya and give our life for you, Ya Allah, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So my brother Islam, that sweetness, Khuda ki qasam, is ruhani sweetness. The sweetness of your iman is ruhani. It comes like how you get food, you taste the sweetness of your food when your body is right, and the sweetness of iman you will taste when you have the love of Allah and His Rasul Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam inside you, more than your children, more than your family, and more than anything else in this dunya. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant that muhabbat wallah to us in our hearts, inshallah ta'ala. And that's like how the shah says, ghulestaana Muhammad jaan dene se nahi darte. If you are a slave of Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam, you don't fight to give your life. ghulestaana Muhammad jaan dene se nahi darte, ye sar kat jaye ya reh jaye, koi parwah nahi karte. Whether our head get cut, or our body get cut, or get left behind. We don't worry about anything because we know that true iman and true belief and true life, Khuda ki qasam, is giving for Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam the sacrifice of our own selves. That is the first type of sweetness of iman you will get. In the second type, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam says, Ahabba abdan an yuhibbu illa lillah. That you will love somebody for the sake of Allah. For example, you get a ustad. A ustad will teach you about the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the deen of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, how to read your namaz, how to keep fast. Now this you'll learn from a ustad, or from an alim, or from a wali kamil, or from your sheikh. Now to have love towards them only for the sake of Allah, because they're teaching you what Allah wants you to do, and how you're supposed to be, and how you should act upon those actions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us. Now if they're teaching you that and you love them for that reason, alhamdulillah, that is, then there you will get the sweetness of iman again. And then again you'll find some people that if they don't read namaz, and you don't like them, don't like them because they're not reading namaz. They're not following what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them to do. Like for example, you find some people that will stay in the vicinity of the masjid, but still they won't read namaz. They won't join the Jamaat. Now these people here, if you hate them, you're hating them because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because they're not following what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us, has showed us through the sadaqah and wasila of my Nabi muhayyuddeen Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Like the actions and the teachings of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, when you meet your Muslim brother, man salim al muslimun min lisani wa yadihi, that a one Muslim is safe from the next Muslim, from his hand, from his mouth. You don't talk bad to the next Muslim. You don't pick up your hand for the next Muslim. Now if a person does that, now you must know that this person, you are hating him for the sake of Allah and His Rasul muhayyuddeen Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Then you will find another person who reads namaz all the time. You find him in the masjid all the time. You find whenever you meet him, he talks good words. You are safe from him at all times. If you need something, he is there to help you, no matter what it is. This is following upon the footsteps of Nabi Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. We should adapt to the life of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, no matter what. Now to read namaz, or to keep roza, or to give out zakat, or to go for hajj. Now this is the action of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which He showed to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Now many of us now, when we don't do that, you don't like a person because he's not on that road. So there's nothing wrong in that. You're hating him because of sake of Allah and His Rasul muhayyuddeen Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when you do that, Khuda ki qasam, you will find that inside you'll have the sweetness of iman. And the third type now is that person, وَمَنْ يَكْرَهُ أَنْ يَعُودَنِي كُفْرِ بَعْدَ أَنْ كَذَهُ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ كَمَا يَكْرَهُ أَنْ يُلْقَى فِي النَّارِ. Now to hate a person who has turned to kufr after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had taken him out from the fire of hell. Now for example, you're talking about a murtad here, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had showed a person the straight road. He was a mu'min, and from there he chose to be with those that are against Islam. He chose to be against Islam. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had taken him out from that fire of hell, he still chose to go back there. Now you will hate him for that reason. Like how, for example, you will hate a snake. Why? A snake is dangerous for your health, for your own health, right? If he bites you, you'll die. But to stay away from those people that are munkir, those people that are kafir, those people that do not accept the sunnah, do not accept the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, go against it, it is like basically saving your own nafs from these people that are going to show you which is the wrong way. And then you must hate them in such a way, that way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Nabi muhayyuddeen Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam has stated. You must hate them in such a way, like how you will hate a person that is going inside the fire of hell. You hate them like that. And in one extent, whether we look at the Sharia of Islam, it also states to this extent, a murtad, a person who is a Muslim and then chose to become a kafir, to kill him you will get Jannah. Why? Because he's portraying that kind of action, Khuda ki qasam, which will take people astray. Now to stay far away from them or to hate them, Khuda ki qasam, that is also a way in where you can get the sweetness of iman inside you. And by acting upon these three things here, and anyone that has these three khaslas, these three things inside them, Khuda ki qasam, you are a person who will taste the true sweetness of Islam, the true sweetness of iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the himmat, the hidayat to act upon these three things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Nabi Muhammadin Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam showed us, and to have these three khaslas inside us. Khuda ki qasam, you have the true sweetness of iman, and you will be a person who will taste the sweetness of iman. And if you taste the sweetness of iman, khuda ki qasam, you are on the right road, and you will enter Jannatul Firdaus at the end of the day. Muttafaqun alayhi hadith. This hadith is riwayat in Bukhari Sharif and Muslim Sharif. There is absolutely no doubt in the hadith. No matter how you look at it, where you look at it throughout the whole world, no matter how many sects there is, if you look at Bukhari and Muslim, throughout the world is undisputed. You have to have, if you have the sweetness of iman, you will have to have these three things inside you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us these three khaslas inside us, to the sadaqah and wasila of the muhabbat of Nabi Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, and make us better Muslims of the future. Wa ma'alina illa al-balad mubin. Jazakumullahu khair. آمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. يا رسول الله انظر حالنا، يا حبيب الله اسمع قولنا، إننا في بحر غم مغرق خذ يدي سهل لنا أشكالنا. اللهم تقبل هذه درس حديث في ghulestaana muhayyuddeen في kitab imaan في ghulestaana muhayyuddeen ببركة سيدنا الدين شاه صاحب دام بركاتهم العالية. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا وبارك وسلم وسلم عليه. جزاكم الله خير.
Interesting.
True.